probably back then I probably would have been awkward, but now it really wasn't awkward at all.
All right, everybody, I've got Dr. David Hartenbach here, who's a pediatrician with ESSA Health, and he's also my father-in-law. But interestingly, last week I did his colonoscopy. So welcome.
Welcome, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm sure everyone is going to want to know, was it awkward having your son-in-law do your colonoscopy?
Well, to be honest, it was really special. I have great faith in you as a doctor, and it was great to have the comfort of knowing you and knowing that you're going to do this for me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And while I know a lot of people out there probably can't relate to their son-in-law doing their upcoming colonoscopy, I think there's probably a lot of people out there who might be due for a colonoscopy, either due to their age, turning 45, having a family history of colon cancer, or maybe they've had polyps in the past and they're due for a follow-up. And I think a lot of people might be a little apprehensive about having a colonoscopy done. So I guess what I would ask you, since you just had one done a few days ago, was it as bad as you expected it to be?
I think it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. The prep was the hardest, but I would say during the procedure, I sat there, I saw this stuff that was going to go into my IV, and all of a sudden I was asleep, and then when I woke up I'm like, okay, when are you going to start? And it was over, and I didn't even know what happened, and I really couldn't tell any difference when I got home that anything had changed in my day.
That's perfect. We hear that a lot, that the people when they wake up they're still waiting for the procedure to happen because the medicine just works that quickly. It kind of onsets and then it sets off that quickly as well. So you mentioned that the prep was probably the hardest part. What was the prep like for you? Kind of how did you prepare for that, and what was that process like?
Well, so I tried to follow the rules as best I could. I was having a colonoscopy a little later in the day, so I did cheat. I had a little bit of breakfast. Unfortunately, I wasn't paying close enough attention to the rules, but I would say pay attention to the rules because the prep would have gone a lot better for me had I done that. And then I would say the mag citrate, there's 10 ounces of mag citrate. That was hard to get down. It was flavorful, but really thick and cherry flavored, and that was hard to get down. I'd say the Miralax was easy, the other pills were easy, and then just expect to be close to the toilet all night,
right.
And then you might wake up once or twice a night, but it really wasn't an all night kind of horrendous thing. I don't really think I felt a lot of pain. I just was sort of like, I had to go to the bathroom a lot.
What would you say was your favorite part of the whole process, if you can have a favorite part?
Just getting to see you and see you in your element. Just how special. Really, it was great to see you just so competent and doing it so well. And really afterwards, I kind of anticipated it being a little bit uncomfortable in that part of the body that you're looking into, and it really wasn't. It was really like I was finished and I didn't even know it had happened.
I'm glad to hear that, because that's a common fear, I think, for a lot of people, that it's just an area that's not dealt with a lot, so people assume that it's going to have a lot of discomfort associated with it, but from what I hear, it's not.
And they warned me that I was going to maybe feel a lot of air and gas, and I really didn't. So I don't know, that's because you're so good, or just because it's just not as bad, but they wanted to make sure that, I think sometimes we give the worst case and then hope nothing happens, and then we can be happy. Then the patient would be happy. So probably that was part of it too.
I think that is. I don't want to take all of the credit. I think part of it is over the years, colonoscopies have become better because we use carbon dioxide instead of air to inflate the colon. And carbon dioxide can also absorb into the walls of the intestine a lot better than air can, so you don't have to pass it all through the rectum. It can get absorbed. And then I guess finally, I had this thought when we were about to do the procedure that just kind of made me laugh. And because I met you in 2016 when I was a medical student. I was a third-year med student. I was interested in GI, and I remember telling you that at the time when we met. Would you have ever believed me if I told you 7 years from that day I'd be doing your colonoscopy?
No, absolutely not. It's a long journey that you went through to get to do this, and no, I would have never thought that would have happened. And probably back then I probably would have been awkward, but now it really wasn't awkward at all.
That's great. I'm glad to hear it. Well, thank you very much. Anyone out there who is 45 years old or older, who has a family history of colon cancer, you're most likely due for colon cancer screening. So talk to your doctor more about it so that you can find a good screening option for you. And hopefully if a colonoscopy is recommended, maybe you'll be a little bit less apprehensive now that Dr. Hartenbach has shared his experience. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.